Think today's predators are scary? Imagine a crocodile that hunted dinosaurs, a snake big enough to crush a bus, and a shark that swallowed whales whole. These aren't movie monsters, they were real. For millions of years, Earth was ruled by creatures so massive, so powerful, and so terrifying that they make today's animals look tame. From bone-crushing jaws to land-roaming crocodiles, get ready to meet 10 extinct animals you're glad aren't around today. And trust me, you won't believe what made it to number 1. Number 10. Liopleurodon, the Jurassic Ocean's nightmare. If you think sharks are scary, meet Liopleurodon, a prehistoric sea monster that made today's great white look tiny in comparison. This massive marine reptile ruled the Jurassic Oceans, growing up to 82 feet long. That's longer than a semi-truck. And its jaw? A crushing machine lined with razor-sharp teeth, built to rip apart anything in its way. Scientists believe it had a superb sense of smell, meaning it could track prey from miles away. Imagine peacefully swimming, only to realize something the size of a subway train has been hunting you the whole time. Unlike today's sharks, Liopleurodon had 4 powerful flippers, making it shockingly fast and agile despite its size. There was no escaping this predator. Its diet? Anything it could catch, including large fish, marine reptiles, and possibly even its own kind. But even apex predators don't rule forever. The changing world and new competition eventually led to its downfall, leaving only its terrifying fossils behind. And speaking of creatures that shouldn't have existed, up next, we have a rodent the size of a cow. Yes, you heard that right. Number 9. Joseph-Ortegasia, the one-ton rodent. If you think modern rodents are bad, imagine one the size of a cow with teeth strong enough to crush bone. Meet Joseph-Ortegasia, the largest rodent to ever exist. This prehistoric giant lived around 3 million years ago and could grow up to 10 feet long, weighing over a ton. That's heavier than a polar bear. But what made it truly terrifying were its massive incisors, almost a foot long. These teeth weren't just for show, as scientists believed Joseph-Ortegasia could bite with the force of a tiger's jaw. Now, before you start picturing a killer rat rampaging through the jungle, it's likely this giant rodent was herbivorous, using its powerful bite to crush tough plants, tree bark, and maybe even fend off predators. Still, the idea of a giant, fanged rodent lurking in the wild is enough to make anyone uneasy. But if you thought this oversized rat was weird, wait until you see what's next. A mammal with the head of a wolf, the body of a rhino, and a bite so powerful it could crush bones like crackers. Number 8. Andrewsarchus, the wolf on steroids. Imagine a creature with the head of a wolf, the body of a rhino, and the jaws of a nightmare. That was Andrewsarchus, the largest land-dwelling carnivorous mammal to ever exist. Living around 45 million years ago, this beast measured over 12 feet long, stood nearly 6 feet tall at the shoulders, and had a skull nearly 3 feet long, which means its bite wasn't just powerful, it was bone-crushing. Scientists believe Andrewsarchus could tear through flesh, bone, and even shells, feeding on anything it could catch or steal. It may have even been a scavenger, bullying other predators away from their kills with its sheer size and aggression. But despite its terrifying appearance, Andrewsarchus remains a bit of a mystery. Fossils are scarce, and scientists still debate whether it was more of a hunter or a scavenger. One thing's for sure, if you are wandering the Eocene landscape, this is the last thing you'd want to run into. And if you thought this was terrifying, wait until you see a crocodile that didn't just swim, but chased its prey on land. Number 7. Caprosuchus, the boar crocodile. Crocodiles are already scary, but imagine one that could run you down on land. That's Caprosuchus, a prehistoric crocodile that didn't just lurk in the water, it hunted like a lion. Nicknamed the boar croc because of its massive, curved tusk-like teeth, Caprosuchus lived around 95 million years ago and measured about 21 feet long. Unlike modern crocs, it had long, powerful legs, meaning it wasn't just an ambush predator, it could chase its prey on land. Imagine being a dinosaur, thinking you're safe on solid ground, only to have a crocodile sprinting toward you at full speed. And those teeth? They weren't just for show. Scientists believe Caprosuchus could pierce through flesh and even bone, making it a brutal hunter. It likely feasted on small dinosaurs, fish, and anything else unlucky enough to cross its path. Luckily, this land-roaming nightmare vanished with the rest of the dinosaurs, leaving only fossils behind. But if you think that's scary, up next is a 10-foot-tall, flightless bird that hunted like a velociraptor. Number 6. Forcrocidae, the terror birds. Imagine a 10-foot-tall bird with a massive hooked beak, razor-sharp reflexes, and a killer instinct. That was Forcrocidae, better known as the terror birds, and trust me, they earned that name. These prehistoric nightmares lived in South America for millions of years, dominating as apex predators. Unlike modern birds, they couldn't fly, but they didn't need to. Instead, they were built for speed, sprinting up to 40 miles per hour. That's faster than an ostrich, and this bird wasn't running away. It was running at you. Its hunting strategy? Brutal. Terror birds use their massive beaks like an axe, slamming down on prey with enough force to crack skulls and break bones. Once their victim was stunned, they'd use their powerful jaws to swallow it whole, bones and all. Imagine a giant, carnivorous emu with the temperament of a velociraptor. But eventually, the rise of mammalian predators led to their downfall, and the terror birds disappeared. However, our next creature didn't just bite, it crushed its prey with one of the most powerful jaws in history. Number 5. Dunkleosteus, the armored sea monster. If you think sharks are terrifying, meet Dunkleosteus, a prehistoric fish that didn't just bite its prey, it snapped it in half with bone-crushing force. Living 360 million years ago, this 33-foot-long armored fish was one of the most dominant predators of the Devonian seas. Instead of teeth, Dunkleosteus had massive, bony plates that worked like a giant pair of shears, capable of slicing through flesh, bone, and even other armored creatures. Scientists estimate its bite force was around 8,000 pounds per square inch, comparable to a modern crocodile, but with self-sharpening blades. And here's the worst part. Dunkleosteus could swallow its prey whole, thanks to its ability to open its mouth in 1/50th of a second, creating a vacuum that sucked in anything unfortunate enough to be in front of it. 1 second, you're swimming peacefully. The next, you're inside a prehistoric garbage disposal. But despite its terrifying power, Dunkleosteus had a weakness. Its heavy armor made it slower than other predators. Over time, more agile hunters emerged, and this sea monster eventually vanished. But if you thought the ocean was dangerous, wait until we bring the terror back to land, because next up is one of the most feared dinosaurs of all time. Number 4. Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of the dinosaurs. You knew this one was coming. Tyrannosaurus rex wasn't just a dinosaur, it was a walking nightmare with teeth the size of bananas and a bite force strong enough to crush a car. At 40 feet long and weighing up to 8 tons, T-Rex was one of the largest land predators ever. But what made it truly terrifying was its skull-crushing power. Its bite force measured a staggering 12,800 pounds per square inch, meaning it could snap bones like twigs and rip apart prey in a single chomp. And unlike what movies show, T-Rex wasn't just some slow-moving brute. Scientists believe it could reach speeds of 12 to 15 miles per hour, not fast enough to outrun a car, but definitely fast enough to run you down. And those tiny arms everyone makes fun of? They were surprisingly strong. Each one could lift around 400 pounds. Not so useless after all. T-Rex ruled the late Cretaceous period as an apex predator, hunting large dinosaurs like Triceratops and even engaging in cannibalism when food was scarce. But, like all non-avian dinosaurs, it met its end 66 million years ago when an asteroid changed Earth forever. But if you thought dinosaurs were the peak of terror, think again, because next up is a snake so big, it could crush a crocodile in its coils. Number 3. Titanoboa, the 42-foot monster snake. If you're afraid of snakes, you might want to skip this one, because Titanoboa was the largest snake to ever exist. Living 60 million years ago, this prehistoric serpent stretched up to 42 feet long and weighed a staggering 1.3 tons. That's longer than a school bus and heavier than a horse. Unlike modern pythons or anacondas, Titanoboa wasn't just big, it was a dominant predator in its tropical rainforest home. Instead of using venom, it hunted by constriction, wrapping around its prey and squeezing with a force of over 400%, strong enough to flatten a car. Its favorite meal? Crocodiles. Imagine that, today's apex swamp predators were just another snack for this monstrous snake. Because it lived shortly after the dinosaurs went extinct, Titanoboa ruled the land without competition, dominating rivers and swamps for millions of years. But as the climate cooled, it eventually vanished, leaving behind only fossils and nightmares. But while Titanoboa was horrifying, it wasn't the only prehistoric reptile with a taste for giant prey. Because next up is a crocodile so massive, it could take down dinosaurs. Number 2. Deinosuchus, the dinosaur killer crocodile. If you think today's crocodiles are scary, meet Deinosuchus, a prehistoric monster that didn't just hunt fish. It hunted dinosaurs. Living 82 million years ago, this 33-foot-long, 6.5-ton beast was one of the largest crocodilians to ever exist. Its bite force? A bone-crushing 23,000 pounds per square inch, twice as strong as a T-Rex. With banana-sized teeth, Deinosuchus could ambush massive dinosaurs at the water's edge, dragging them into the depths and drowning them before tearing them apart. Fossilized bite marks on dinosaur bones prove it feasted on these prehistoric giants, making it one of the few creatures that could challenge land-dwelling apex predators. And unlike modern crocodiles, Deinosuchus was found in both freshwater and saltwater, meaning nowhere was safe. But despite its terrifying power, Deinosuchus eventually disappeared, likely due to climate change and competition from evolving predators. And just when you thought the ocean was finally safe, our number 1 creature makes its grand entrance. Because up next is a shark the size of a school bus, with the strongest bite force in history. Number 1. Megalodon, the ultimate ocean predator. If you think great white sharks are scary, meet their prehistoric big brother, Megalodon, the largest shark to ever live. This 59-foot-long, 100-ton beast ruled the oceans 3.6 million years ago, and its bite force of up to 36 tons made it the most powerful predator in history. To put that into perspective, Megalodon's bite was strong enough to crush a whale's spine like a toothpick. Its 7-inch serrated teeth were designed to rip through flesh and bone effortlessly. And considering a single bite could take out a car-sized chunk of meat, nothing stood a chance. Megalodon didn't just hunt, it dominated. Fossils show that its favorite meals were whales, including species that were over 30 feet long. Imagine being a massive ocean predator, only to realize you're just lunch for something even bigger. But despite its unmatched power, Megalodon mysteriously vanished around 3.6 million years ago, likely due to climate change, shifting food sources, and competition from faster, more agile predators like orcas. Today, only its fossilized teeth remain, a chilling reminder of the time when the ultimate apex predator ruled the seas. So, which of these terrifying creatures do you think was the scariest? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into prehistoric nightmares, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because there's always more where that came from.